And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and wouldn't you know it, it's the end of the month. Well, technically the start of November, but I'm here with another tier list. So we're going to start our series of tier lists. I'll probably finish them over the weekend, but we're going to start with the point guards. So we're going to be ranking all of the point guards in NBA 2K21 My Team, at least the relevant ones. I'm obviously not going to go rank like a bronze. Like, I'm sorry if you're here to see, like, I don't even know a bronze point guard. But yeah, they're not going to be on here. Other than that, we're going to be ranking all the best ones from S, absolute god tier cards, and I'll explain why they're here. A, step under S, very good. B, incredibly usable cards. C, you know, they're okay. They do one or two things really, really well. D, can be used in the right hands, and F, I would avoid at all cost. So before we get started, please drop a like, comment down below whether you disagree or agree with my rankings, and let me know where you'd put people. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe. I literally upload daily NBA 2K21 My Team content, and I'll talk about next gen at the end of the video if you're curious what my plans are for that. So let's get started. Derek Harper, F. I usually like Derek Harper, but he's just not good this year. I mean, he plays decent defense, but there's just so many guys that do it better than him. He's got an okay 3-ball. I don't like his jump shot too much, but that's just me. So, pretty obvious inclusion in S tier, Steph Curry. If you've ever played against someone that knows how to do the Curry escape or the Curry slide, yeah, you'll know why this card is S tier. It's absolutely elite, one of the most unstoppable cards offensively in this game. I probably should have tried harder to get him last season, but I didn't. And if you didn't, it's okay. Like, he's currently on his way to being outdated already, so if you didn't get him before, yeah, there's like a 2-month period where you're going to be really annoyed running into him, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't fret over it. In 2 months, he's probably not going to be used by anyone, if that makes sense. This is 2K. We're in the middle stages. Cards get outdated at an extremely fast rate at this stage in the game. So, next up, we got Patrick Beverley. I hate Patrick Beverley. I really hate this Patrick Beverley card. He's really bad. There's a lot of cards that you can upgrade or that come standard with good defensive stats and good defensive badges. Patrick Beverley, just his jump shot's not elite. He's small. He's just bringing you absolutely nothing on offense, and he can't really play make that well either, but he is a good defensive stopper. But at that stage, you could get guys who are just slightly worse by like a tiny margin at defense and better in literally everything else, so I would avoid using him. Next up, we got Oscar Robertson. I think Oscar Robertson legitimately is one of the most slept on cards in this game. I would throw him in B tier. He has every badge that you need, except they can't put clamps on him, which is huge. So he might drop down to C tier, but I really think Oscar Robertson is actually one of the most underrated cards in this game. I never hear anybody talk about this card. He has elite dribble sigs, he can shoot, he can drive, he can dunk, he can facilitate. I believe he has Hall of Fame floor general, which is huge. He's just a really, really good point guard that was going for under 100K, which was wild. Next up, we got Chris Paul. Chris Paul is probably C tier. I mean, he's a really, really good Ruby point guard. That being said, he's going for about 10K and absolutely not worth it. When you look at some of the other guys you can get at point guard for 10K, or even some of the guys that you can get for 3K. But I'm not going to knock the card. Chris Paul is a little bit small, but that doesn't mean he can't facilitate. We're not at the point where giant point guards are overpowered yet, so you can still get away using littler guys like Chris Paul, and I actually think he's a really good point guard, period. His jump shot is a little slow, though. That is the only knock I really have on this card besides his price, and just that he's a little bit undersized. That's why I'm putting him in C tier. He does a few things really, really well, and in the right hands, he can cook you, but he's not a card I recommend everybody buy, if that makes sense. Next up, we got Damon Stoudemire. Everything I said about Chris Paul applies to Damon Stoudemire. Damon Stoudemire can evo up to a diamond. He is legitimately an incredible defensive card with an elite jump shot. He can shoot threes. He may even move up to B tier. Once I start filling out B tier, I may move Damon Stoudemire up because he really is incredible. Mighty Mouse can kind of do it all, man. Next up, we got George Hill. I really like George Hill. I do. I like truly like this card. If you watched any of my videos, you've seen me hype this guy, especially for his price. But I'm not insane. Like, he's a D tier point guard. Like, he's not really that great. He's more than usable in the right hands. Like, I do really well with George Hill. But there's, like, great cards that I don't do very well with. So it's really a personal thing with George Hill. That's why he fits the criteria for D tier. Next up, we got Kenny Anderson, F. And the reason for that is if you look, he has literally no hot zones. To be honest, another card that I would throw in like F and D tier is probably the current Steph Curry because he has no hot zones. Hot zones are stupidly important this year in 2K, and you'll miss so many shots just not having hot zones. Applying Hot Zone Hunter doesn't do anything either. So, next up, we got Terrell Brandon. Terrell Brandon, probably, yeah, he deserves to be right next to Damon Stoudemire. They're basically like the same card. Once you get Damon Stoudemire like leveled up, I think he's a little bit better than Terrell Brandon. But that being said, Terrell Brandon's pretty decent. We got Halloween Reward, Terry Rozier, D. I think he's better than these guys because he's a little bit more multi-dimensional than these guys. He has a little bit more to his game. But he's not someone that I would recommend running as their primary point guard, if that makes sense, you know? Mark Price. Mark Price will go D because he's just one-dimensional, like he's just a shooter. He can facilitate a little bit and play make, but for the most part, he's just going to be a 3-hunter. And there's just a lot better options at that. Like, the reason Chris Paul is ahead of Mark Price is D tier, 1 or 2 things that these guys do really well, and in the right hands, they can be effective, but it's not someone I recommend. Like, I don't recommend everybody run Mark Price. Next up, we got Magic, C. Yeah, pros, he's huge, elite rim running, but at the same time, you can't give him clamps. He's slow for whatever reason. Also, he does this animation where like turbo just doesn't work on Magic Johnson occasionally. Like, you'll be trying to sprint up the floor and he'll just kind of trot up, and I don't really know what that is. It's some sort of hitch in the load up animation for him to start running. And that's like hugely important, so he can't really push transition, and that's like a big problem for Magic Johnson. And I love Magic Johnson cards normally. Also, they made him like the old chubby Magic Johnson. It's so rude of them. Next up, we got Tony Parker. Tony Parker is C. He's not worth his price whatsoever, but he's got, you know, base 98. He shoots really well. He's fast. He can't really dunk, but he can facilitate. He's got speed. In the right hands, he's elite. Very small portion of those hands, but I would say he's about at Terrell Brandon's level, if not better. Doc Rivers. He's D. He plays good defense and play makes, but that's about it. Like, he's better than these guys. I can't throw him down here, but yeah, he's the lower end of D tier. I would take probably George Hill over him. Honestly, I'd probably take Mark Price too, just because I'm a 3-hunter. Dave Bing. Yeah, Dave Bing's good. Dave Bing's actually really good. Like, I'm not kidding. He actually is incredible. He's got Paul George release. Yeah, I believe he has Paul George release. Let me double check on that. But Dave Bing is a really slept on card because he was a TTO drop. So a lot of people don't really have him or haven't used him. Or it's one of those things where, like, TTO drops are, like, triple threat offline drops are typically, like, ridiculed if you use them for whatever reason, even though they're free. Okay, so he actually has set shot 4, which is the same jump shot as Peja Stojakovic. So he has, like, a lightning fast release. Kenny Anderson does also have that jump shot, in case you were wondering, but that lack of hot zones kills him. But Dave Bing actually has very, very good stats to back that up and good hot zones, so that's kind of an important thing. So I apologize about the jump shot. I got 2 players mixed up, one of which I'll talk about later. Dennis Johnson. See? He's actually really, really good. Defensively, he's absolutely incredible. He might be one of the best defensive point guards in this game, if not the best. That being said, he does have a dynamic duo, I believe, with... Who is it? Is it Bill Walton? It might be Bill Walton. I'm not sure. Let me check him out real quick. I have like 2 computers running with 2KDV over here. So yeah, he has a dynamic duo with Bill Walton, which does raise a lot of his stats. It brings him from a... What's his regular 3-point? His regular 3-point is a 60, and with Bill Walton, it brings him up to a 77. And he actually doesn't have a bad release. It also raises up like his driving layup and pass perception and like some other stuff, just stuff that helps off ball. Also his passing accuracy and ball handle go up too. So he becomes a much better player. And he has jump shot 28, which is like Gail Goodrich and World Be Free, Michael Cooper, Rafe LaFrance. So he's got a pretty decent release. So once you get that up there, if you're playing him alongside Bill Walton, he actually becomes a very, very good card. But I'm still keeping him C tier just because there's too many factors that basically affect how he does. Ricky Rubio, B tier. Absolutely B tier. He is really good. I like this card a lot. Like, a lot. He's probably the best budget point guard in this game, to be completely... Well, no, Richie Guerin is technically a shooting guard, so I could say that Ricky Rubio is one of the best budget point guards in this game, as far as at the Amethyst tier. Great facilitators, got a really nice jump shot once you get to use it, great stats, great badges, and good tendencies. So, next up, we got Darren Williams. I feel like a lot of people are not going to agree with what I'm doing here, but I think he's literally an S tier point guard. No, he's A. I can't. He's not an S tier point guard. Like, I don't know, man. You can rim run with Darren Williams. He facilitates. He's got good badges. You can give him defensive badges like clamps and stuff, an elite jump shot. He shoots the three really well. He can get range. Yeah, this is unpopular, but I got to put him in S tier. There's a reason you run into this guy so much. Like, Darren Williams is absolutely incredible. John Wall, A. If he could shoot, he'd be S tier. Literally no question. He's an absolutely almost unstoppable rim running god, but if anyone that you're playing against can actually contain that, he does lose his value once they start to run zone or something like that, but you can facilitate with him. He's still incredible. I'd take him over these guys for sure. Derrick Rose. He's just a worse version of John Wall. That's it. Personally, I find Derrick Rose's shot a little bit easier to hit, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and argue he should be A tier. Granted, Derrick Rose is probably the most annoying card that you can come across because he's almost unstoppable while attacking the rim. With the current state of the game, he's still B tier. He lacks some... John Wall brings more defensively and he can shoot a little bit better, so... Mo Cheeks. D. He's just a worse Dennis Johnson. That's basically what he is. Earl Monroe. Probably D tier. I haven't really used him that much, but at the same time, I haven't come across him like ever too, but he's got decent hot zones. I can't say he's on the same level as like Kenny Anderson and Pat Bev. He's just okay. Plus he has 30 gold badges, a decent jump shot. He's got like jump shot 36, which is like Doug Christie and Hornacek's. Better off the catch, but at the same time, pretty decent card. Nate Archibald, same thing. Like, I can't really say anything incredibly negative about this card. He's just kind of there. If you're good with him, use him. If not, throw him to the side. Robert Pack, C tier. He's a little bit worse version of these two guys. Robert Pack is super fast. He lights it up when attacking the rim, and he can shoot the three a little bit. So in that aspect, he's a little better than Derrick Rose. He's just not as unstoppable at attacking the rim to the point where it's fake, and that's why I'm putting him at C tier as opposed to B. Daniel Gibson. Yeah, people aren't going to like this one either, but Daniel Gibson is literally C tier. He's absolutely incredible. Lights out jump shot. One of the best reward cards, period, in my opinion. Legitimately one of the best 3-hunting point guards in the game. I think he's better than every single guy on D tier. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong, but Charlie Ward, D. He's okay. Not really too much to say about Charlie Ward. I mean, he's a pretty good one if you got him for the online rewards. He's a pretty good free card, for sure, especially at that tier. You can use him for lower overall cheesing. He shoots a good 3. Got an 85 3 ball. He has jump shot 22, which is like Darren Williams and James Worthy, so he's basically like a super budget version of Darren Williams, essentially. He's pretty decent. Chauncey Billups. I'm going to put Chauncey in A tier, and I'll explain why. Chauncey Billups has a pretty slow jump shot, so that's a knock. That's why he's not S tier. He doesn't dunk. That is also a problem, but he is elite at attacking the rim regardless. But he is one of the best defensive point guards in the game. If not, actually, to be honest with you, he is the best defensive point guard in the game. It's not even particularly close at this stage. 6 Hall of Fame badges. He does have the Hall of Fame difficult shot, so he can hit moving mid-ranges at a pretty decent clip. In addition to coming with bronze range, which can be upgraded, so you can give him range. But he also has like Hall of Fame floor general and unpluckable, as well as like gold dimer and stuff like that. He has Hall of Fame defensive leader, tireless defender, and then he has like gold clamps, interceptor, intimidator, off-ball pest, pickpocket, high steal tendency. He's absolutely annoying and one of the best lockdown defenders in the game. Kyrie. Like, I can't sit here and tell you Daniel Gibson is better than Kyrie. But I think Kyrie deserves to probably be by, like, Tony Parker, Terrell Brandon, like, those guys. These 3 guys, not saying they're the exact same, but they all deserve to be next to each other. Fat Lever. Ooh, Fat Lever's tough. I've only played with him a couple times, and he wasn't bad at all. For whatever reason, I've always been more of a Robert Pack fan over Fat Lever. His hot zones are not very great. He doesn't have a whole lot of gold badges. He has Jump Shot 1, which is like Dave Cowens. He has a big man release, which I don't like it, so I'm going to put him down in D tier. But if you're good with him, I'd use him. But I can't sit here and say that Fat Lever is worse than Charlie Ward. Like, that'd be absurd. I don't like him, and I might, out of spite, just throw him down in F tier, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you and tell you that, you know. Jerry West. He's just better Mark Price. Like, that's all Jerry West is. He's a pretty good card. He deserves to be in the middle of the pack, though. I don't particularly think that he has earned any type of right to be up in B tier. Like, the biggest tiers are going to be C and D, just because there's a lot of average at best point guards this year. Gary Payton. He's outdated, but I think he's still C tier. Like, he's definitely better than all these guys. I'd throw him next to Dennis Johnson, just because Gary Payton can shoot a little bit better. Dennis Johnson just has better badges, but Gary Payton's okay. JoJo White. Yeah, JoJo White's A tier, dude. He's really slept on, and even I've slept on JoJo White. But JoJo White is absolutely incredible. So let me tell you guys a little bit about JoJo White, just because it's not a card that I hear referenced a lot, but if you do run into him online, like, the person using him is probably going to body you. But he has elite hot zones. He has literally one area of the floor that is not a hot zone. He has an 88 three-point shot, 90 driving layup, and he has a 60 driving dunk, which isn't terrible, but 96 speed, 96 acceleration. Incredible. But he has an 80 driving dunk tendency, so he's going to try to dunk it like pretty consistently. He's a 90 pass intercept, 84 on ball steal, 79 contest, which is great for a guard. He has Paul George base, so he's got a really easy to time jump shot for some people. I'm not great with it. Some other people do. Really enjoy it. In addition to that, badge wise, he comes standard with gold range, corner specialist, and catch and shoot, and you can add tireless shooter and volume shooter to him. Now, I do wish you could add Deadeye, flexible, and hot zone hunter, because of those hot zones, it'd be very good. You can add a lot of the finishing badges to him, including like consistent finisher, slithery, and pro touch. He has pretty much every playmaking badge gold. No, he does. He has all of them except for like Dream Shake, which you don't need. And you can add a bunch of defensive badges to him, like Clamps, Heart Crusher, Lightning Reflexes, Pogo, and Trapper. Yeah, he's a really, really, really good card. And I'm not usually a huge fan of JoJo White, but he is 6'3" with a 6'5" wingspan, so he's got that elite wingspan as well. I would say that he's better than all 4 of these guys in B tier. And not just because he's a pink diamond, because I will drop diamonds to F tier. I don't care. Patty Mills. D. He's alright. It's got base 98. That's about it. I don't think he's better than any of these guys. He's just kind of there. Jason Kidd. Another mid-tier diamond point guard. He's pretty decent. Great defensively. Great facilitator. His jump shot is awful. Other than that, he can attack the rim a little bit. He's just about as mid as it gets, to be completely honest with you. Stephon Marbury, B. I think people say he's a better version of Derrick Rose. I think he's a little bit worse version of Derrick Rose, but that being said, I think he's better than a lot of these point guards. Yeah, I think he's better than all these point guards, to be honest with you. Like, offensively, Jerry West is better, but like all around, I think Marbury's better. That makes sense. I wouldn't put him in the same level as Chris Paul. Gus Williams. Gus Williams, rim running is the meta, so he's still C tier, but he's not as good as he once was. But he does have elite speed and elite attacking badges, so can't really deny that. Kyle Lowry, he's okay. He's just kind of there. Trae Young, sorry Trae Young fans. I don't think he's better than Jerry West or even on the same tier as him. I'm not a huge fan of Trae Young's jump shot. Some people are. He gives you absolutely nothing on defense, and he's small. I can't give him any higher than that. Nate Robinson's really good, but like realistically, can I put him up here? No, I can't. Freddie Lewis is actually really good, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's better than a lot of these cards. Like, he's good, don't get me wrong, and I will tell you that I have hated on this card a little bit at the beginning of the year because I didn't understand it, but he has pretty weak hot zones, which is not great. He has like 3 hot zones total, only a 74 shot 3, which is not great. He does have Paul George base. You can add a few badges to him, but he comes standard with some decent shooting badges. Like, he has hot zone 100 gold, but he has like 2 hot zones, but he has pretty much every facilitating badge and some good defensive badges. But that being said, I'll still put him at D tier though. Spud Webb. Spud Webb's really good. Like, don't get me wrong, but he's tiny. He is super, super tiny, and it's hard for him to contest shots, and that's big this year in 2K. Like, if you can contest shots, a lot of the times they'll miss, especially with the new update they just dropped yesterday, which improved shot contest a little bit, or at least improved the amount it affects a jump shot. If you'll notice, if you're playing Unlimited today, it's a little bit, tiny smidge bit harder to hit shots. And Spud Webb being that small, it's harder for him to contest. That's the only reason he's down here. And honestly, him and Nasty Nate are pretty comparable. I can't really like put them apart from each other. Steve Nash, once again, just kind of like a kind of okay, decent diamond point guard. He's not really on these guys' tier, but he's there. Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher's B tier. He's actually really, really, really good. You can give him range too. I like Derek Fisher's jump shot. A lot of people don't. He's got good defensive badges. He's got good playmaking badges. He's actually a really good card, and I kind of hated on him earlier this year. And Nick Van Exel. Can't say he's worse than Freddie Lewis. He deserves to be right here. Like I said, there's not very many F tier point guards this year. Like, everyone's kind of usable at this stage in the game in one way or another. I just don't think these guys are, but everyone else really is. I'm not going to sit here and hate. I know I'm going to get some dislikes on this video because my tier lists always get at least 1 or 2 dislikes. Like, damn, dude, it's my opinion, but, you know, whatever, it's fine. Sleepy Floyd. I still think Sleepy Floyd's really, really good, and I'm debating between putting him in B tier or C tier. Yeah, I'm putting him in B tier. He's an elite all-around game. Plus, the only reason he's going into C tier, or B tier as opposed to C tier, is for price considerations too. Being more of a budget card, he's actually really, really good though, and you'll run into him quite a bit online, and there's a reason for that. He's an incredible card for a lower cost than a lot of these guys are. I think he's better than Magic. He's obviously not as good defensively as Dennis Johnson, but he's better all around. I think he's better all around than Jason Kidd, Kyrie, Tony Parker, Steve Nash. Obviously, he's better all around than a lot of these guys. Now, don't get it twisted, though. I am going to move this around just because I don't want it to be, like, misconstrued to think that these guys are on the same level as, like obviously, you shouldn't run Daniel Gibson if you have Jerry West, okay? Let's be real here, all right? I'm just saying he's a C-tier level point guard. Gilbert Arenas. He's A-tier. Really good. Base 11 doesn't really suit a point guard at this stage. I don't know what they did to it. It just doesn't feel right coming out of Gilbert Arenas' hands. Maybe that's because I played last year with just a bunch of base 11 big men like all year long, so maybe it's just weird coming out of a little guy. I don't know, but he's definitely an A tier. He's an absolutely unstoppable offensive force. He plays some defense. He doesn't excel as hard as like John Wall at rim running. He doesn't excel as hard at three-point shooting as these two guys up here, or even like Derek Fisher. I think he even shoots threes a little bit better than Gilbert Arenas, but he's a really good card. I did a gameplay on him. I like him. He wasn't worth the price, but John Stockton, come on. Take everything you love about John Wall and Derrick Rose, add the three-point shooting of Gilbert Arenas. Like, you get John Stockton. John Stockton's incredible. There's a reason he's still expensive. There's a reason that the praises are sung for him. He has a huge leaping ability, huge driving dunk tendency. I should say big driving dunk tendency, or very good, whatever. You know what I mean? He's incredible. These three guys are the Mount Rushmore of 2K point guards at this stage in the game, and they all came out in Season 1. I don't think any of the guys that came out in Season 2 can even touch these guys at this stage. Like, truly. That being said, like, John Wall's super annoying. Gilbert Arenas, they're really, really good. You can easily get away with using them. A lot of people may prefer these guys to the guys up here in S tier. It's just, in my experience and playing with all the cards, I just think that these guys are the best, and playing against them, these are the guys that typically torch me the most. So, Mike Bibby. I don't think I can put him in F tier. He's not F tier. He's, I don't know. Yeah, let's throw him in D tier. I don't think he's necessarily F tier. He's usable, but Isaiah Thomas, C tier. He's a middle-of-the-road diamond point guard. Again, he's got his uses. If you're good with him, let it fly. But I don't think particularly he's up here in B tier level. I think B tier is exclusive for a reason, just because the point guard position especially is just filled with so many, like, kind of okay point guards. It's hard for me to really throw any guys too high. Jay Williams, C. He's really, really good. He's a great budget option. I like Jay Williams a lot, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say he's in this conversation. I don't think he really is. Like, he doesn't rim run as good as well as Derrick Rose. He doesn't shoot as well as Derek Fisher or even Sleepy Floyd. But he is on par with a lot of these guys. Very good card. Bob Cousy. Nah, I'd say he's B tier. He's pretty good. I don't think he's up here in A tier level with these four guys. I think all four of these guys are better than him. But he's still a really good card, all things considered. Let's see. World Be Free. World Be Free is pretty good. I think he's the upper echelon of C tier. I don't think he should go into B tier, personally. A lot of people really like this card. I am not a huge fan of it, so take out your woes in the comments if you're a big World Be Free guy. I think he is really good, but I don't think he's really at this stage. It's just me, though. Kenny Smith. I love Kenny Smith, but he's D tier at this stage in the game. I can't sit here and shit on Trae Young and then have Kenny Smith, like, up here. That's... yeah, I can't. Mark Jackson is our final card, and I'd put him in D tier as well. He's about the most okay point guard you could possibly get. There's not much more to say about it. He's just pretty decent. I left out some guys like Casey Jones and Johnny Moore and a couple of the other reward guys. Now, I obviously left out the current cards too, but just to touch on those, I would probably put Damian Lillard, the current one that a lot of people used. You can badge him up to the point where he's borderline C tier, but he's probably D or C. Casey Jones? Yeah, Casey Jones and Johnny Moore are probably D or F. They're just okay. Steph Curry, the original Amethyst Steph, probably D. I guess you could make a case for C. No, he's D. He has no hot zones. It's unfortunate. Starter Dames, probably once again like D or C. If you badge him up, C. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. It has been your boy Cheap Ludes. Don't forget to check me out tomorrow. I might be streaming. I'm going to drop some new content, some new videos, obviously with the new packs. I'm hoping they're Idols packs. We'll find out, I suppose. Other than that, go subscribe to the Patreon if you want. Subscribe to the channel. Drop a like. Comment down below. Tell me how much you hate me for ranking your player too low or too high or something. I don't know. Other than that, I have a podcast as well. Go check that out. Link in the description. And I'll finish the rest of the tier list series. So I'll be doing shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers. I'll probably finish those over the weekend. So stay tuned for those probably on Saturday and Sunday. I'll probably do 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday, finish them out. So anyways, guys, take it easy. I appreciate all of you.